In this RoutCAD application video, we will see how to cut out a cylindrical part in a CNC lathe. We have designed a chuck holding tool, a cylindrical workpiece, a center, a axis, and also a cutout tool. Now, what we want to do is to use this cutout tool to cut this cylindrical piece on a CNC lathe. Now, we can notice that all we have presently on the screen is in blue. This means that these are construction objects that were made with the keep out of routing check. That means that these lines can never be routed, and they are there for graphical representation of what we are doing. Now, we only need perhaps to make such graphical representation of our CNC setup once. This will help us understand what is happening and avoid mistake when after we export to G-code. Now, as I said, we would like to use this cutout tool to cut this cylindrical part on a CNC lathe. The first thing that we want to do is, since we have made an axis, the Z positive going right and the X going this way. This is the way our CNC lathe axis is usually set up, and this is where our axis is located. If our axis was located in a different way, or our origin, the 0, home position of the CNC lathe was located in a different position, we just need to know where is the 0 position of our CNC lathe. In this particular case, the 0 position of the CNC lathe is at that location. So what we wish to do is to make, because the tool, actually the tip of the tool normally will reside at the 0 location, make the tip of the tool move in such a way, and then we want to cut out that piece, and then perhaps after that we might wish to get out, go back up again. So let's start. The first thing that we want to do is to uncheck the keep out of routing. The reason why is because all the other objects that we will create, we want to route them. We want them to be part of the routing sequence. Therefore, we must uncheck keep out of routing. Now, what we want to do, the first thing is we would like to create a point at the origin of the X and Y, Z and X axis. Do so is quite easy. We go to draw and we click on point. Now we have used use mouse, and we're going to click on continue. Now the snap is enabled, and obviously we want to snap to a endpoint. So we're going to move the mouse close to the endpoint of the origin and click on it. And here we go. We have created a point. At this time, this point is not routed yet. It's in red, which means it could be routed, which means it could be part of the routing sequence, but it's not routed yet. So it's basically red. And it is, at the moment, a construction element that was made with the keep out of routing unchecked. Now, what we want to do is to move from the origin of the home position or origin of our CNC lathe, which in this case is over here, move to that particular location and go inside to cut that tool. Now, so the next thing we need to do is to add another point at the middle of the cutting tool over there. So what we're going to do, we're going to zoom, window, and we're going to select that area over here, and we're going to click right in the middle of that line. So we have a second routed point right over here. Now we're going to zoom out. And next thing we want to do is we would like to go inside at now cutting speed and cut that material. Now, so to do that, we need to add a line. Let's use the grid to do so. So we're going to go to Option, Grid, and we're simply going to draw a line that we're going to move around to do what we want to do. So let's just draw a line anywhere. We're just going to go to Draw Line, 2 point, use mouse, it's checked, this is good, and we click on Continue. Now we want to snap to Grid. We click on Grid, and we're just going to click on 2 grid points to make a vertical line. That's good. So next step, we want to route this line. We want to make the motion of cutting that cylindrical workpiece. Easy. Let's move that line at that point. We're going to go to Copy, and we're going to select the end point. We're going to select that line first. We duplicate is not checked. This is good. We're going to select the end point of the line, and we're going to move that line. And what we want to do now is to drop that line at that end point. So let's do zoom. Zoom window, and we zoom that area. Now we can continue our work, so we can drop that line right over there. So because we had point snap to point, it went to the point, or also it went to the. We also have snap to midpoint, which is the midpoint of the line. In either case, it's at the right location. Okay, next step. We also need to route this line. So what we're going to do, we have set the grid to 0.5 inch. Okay, so the distance between grid point, we're going to zoom out a little bit. The distance between grid point is 0.5 inch. We want to start routing, let's say in this case, about 0.1 inch above this. So let's basically use what we have to help us work. So let's edit. We're going to copy, and we're going to check translation, so we can enter a translation amount. So we're going to copy this line. We're going to also make sure that duplicate is checked. So let's copy this line, and now we're going to copy it down by a small amount. So this is about 0.5 inch. We can just perhaps 0.1 inch should be just fine. So we're going to copy it down by 0.1 inch like this. So we did that. Now, as we're going to go in the material, now I'm going to do the next step. What I want to do, the next step, I want to remove some of this line. So I'm going to use the break, edit break. I'm going to break this line with that line. Okay. So if I click the middle mouse button, I can see there's a segment here and a segment here. So now I'm going to do erase, or Control E to go faster, Control E to erase. I'm going to erase that line, and if I click the middle mouse button on here, I can see there's a segment here. I'm going to erase that line. So now we're almost done with that segment, but obviously we don't need to go that far deep. Basically, since this is a revolving cylinder, all we need to do is we need to go through the middle, and that part will be cut off. So we want to go through the middle, and then we want to pass the middle a little bit. Now, this is the center line of that cylindrical workpiece. So let's pass the middle by 0.1 inch. That should be plenty. So again, we're going to go to copy. To copy, we can either go to the menu, edit copy, or we just do Control E, Control C. Now, we're going to copy that middle segment, and we want to move it now backward, which means the negative Y, by minus 0.1 inch. And we click on Continue. So just as an example, because we have unchecked the keep out of routing, every element that we create, either from scratch or by copying and pasting, they are created as construction element. Now we're going to use that line to break that line. So we just go to we're going to do Control B for breaking. We're going to break this line with that line. Now if we click the middle mouse button, we see we have a segment here and a segment here. Now we're going to erase. We can do Control E to erase. We're going to erase that segment because we don't need it anymore, and we're going to erase that segment. Now we are all set to start the routing sequence. Basically, what's going to happen? CNC will move the cutting tool from the home position, go to that location. This is at moving speed, and it will go in there also at moving speed, and then it will cut at cutting speed all the way past the middle. So that piece will basically be cut. And then we're going to make it retract. We didn't really make it retract yet, but we will make it retract after. Now, let's finish this. To finish this, we need to start routing. Let's go to Machine and click on Route Semi-Automatic. Okay. Now, we're not going to do display route arrow for now. We're going to uncheck that. So what we need to do is we're going to route the very first point. So this is this point over here. We route. Now we made a mistake. We're going to undo what we did because we made route automatic. We need to make route semi-automatic. Because route automatic routes everything, and we don't want that. We want to control what we're doing. So we're going to go to route semi-automatic. Okay, and we're going to click on the first point, which is the origin. It is routed. We can see this is point number 1 to be routing. Now it's using on the first point. Now, between point, it's going at fast speed or moving speed, and at the routing line will be cutting speed. So now we go to the second point over here. We click. So now this is the second point to be routed, and then we're going to route that line. Now, what will happen? Let's go and go on View, Display Route Arrow. What will actually happen? Since it will move from the home location or 0 location at with the cutting tool, it will move at high speed or moving speed to that point, and then it will go inside also at high speed, and it will move and cut this at the feed rate we have defined in the configuration menu. Now, if we do it this way, it's fine, except that when it finishes, the cutting tool will stay there. But we don't want that. When it finishes, we want the cutting tool to retract and pull itself up again. So let's do that. We can simply go to Zoom window, okay, and we're going to we're going to remove the display route arrow. Now we're going to copy this point just a little bit to go this way, and we're going to route it so that it go back. So let's go Control C for copying. We're going to select translation, duplicate is good. We're going to copy that one point. We're going to copy that point by minus 0.05 inch. So this is it. So now let's do let's see. This is the third element to be routed. That was the second. Now we're going to route that point. Wizard, Machine, Route Semi-Automatic. We click on that point, and now this becomes the fourth element to be routed. So what's going to happen? CNC, we're going to do zoom, show display route arrow. We're going to go zoom out, zoom window. CNC will move from the home location to that position at fast rate. Will go inside all the way to the routed point, also at fast rate. Will go inside at feed rate and then retract itself to the last routed point that we want. We could also make it go back to the origin if we want it, but in this case, we're just going to leave it there. Now, this is all nice. We can just do show route. But one thing, we can see that the thickness of the routing is not the right thickness. This is because the round tool diameter that we have defined is not correct. So we can change that. Let's do view. We're going to remove show route. We want the round tool diameter to be equivalent to the thickness of this cutting tool. So we're going to click on it on that line, and we can see what the value is. The value is the value that we have cutting. No, this is the point. We want to go to the line just beside it. The length is 0.04510. Okay, 0.04150. So what we're going to do, we're going to define the round tool diameter to be 0.04510. To do that is easy. We go to the configuration menu, and we're going to make a custom round tool. We're going to make it 0.04510. We're going to apply all this. We're going to save it, and we're going to go back, and we're going to edit the attributes. And we're going to change the attribute of this line, which was with that round tool amount. Now we're going to change it. And we're just going to go back and one more thing, wizard, round tool, configuration panel. Okay, round tool, 0.540, 0.54010, apply, save, configuration panel. Okay, now it's okay. Okay, edit, attributes, click on that. And there we go, we change it. We can also change the attributes of the routed point over there if we wish. And also of the very first routed point. So every routed point got the new round tool diameter that we defined. And now if we do view, show route, it will have the actual thickness of the cutting tool that we have defined. So if we go to zoom out, this is basically a very simple process to make a cutout. CNC will move from home location to the location we have defined over there. We're going to do view display route arrow, and it will move at moving speed or high speed. Then it will move 0.1 inch away from the material at high speed, and it will feed the material to cut that part also at cutting speed or feed rate that we define in the G code, and it will move out when it's done at high speed to go back to the point we defined over here. The last thing that we wish to do, we're going to remove the display route arrow. We're going to move the cutting tool just to make sure that everything is fine with what we have defined over here. To do that, we're going to uncheck duplicate. We're going to select window, and we're going to go on copy. We're going to select that whole cutting tool. No, we're going to remove translations because we want to move with the mouse. We're going to select that whole cutting tool, and we can pick any point we want. So now what we are actually doing is we're going to do like it will happen in the CNC. The cutting tool will be over there at the home or 0, 0 location of the CNC. It will move this way at fast rate, and then it will move this way at fast rate, and it will feed in to cut that part at feed rate, and then it will go back again to the last point we have defined. It will stop there. Now we're going to click cancel or the right mouse button to cancel the action of copying this. And the last step, obviously we must have configured the G code properly, but the last step when this is done is we go to machine and we export G code for CNC lathe.